Hello guys, welcome to Screencast on the homework presentation for PE. This is kind of just going to be an overview of what you're supposed to be doing now with regard to homeworks in PE, and also where we might kind of try and develop, or where we will try to develop as the year goes on. So this will be your key focus. I mean, you've already know the kind of homework stuff you've done so far. This is where we're working towards. I'll give you a week or two to get used to it. This is how we need to start organising our time and your resources now. So homework procedure, as you kind of know, I've kind of talked to you about. Every lesson you'll receive an email or you'll be given a task. That email should be sent back within 8 hours. Now that's usually going to be a gapped email. It's going to be a acronym, it's going to be a mnemonic, and you should send that back using what is on the email from memory straight back. Now I've talked to you about this kind of 8 hours, okay, the 6 to 8 hours. You must send it back from memory within 8 hours. If you do that, you're 80% more likely to memorize the stuff you need, and that is vital. The recall is vital to get us not only the basic information, but be able to get any exam marks, because if you can't remember the basics, how are you ever going to build it up into the kind of higher order answers? Next thing you have to do, okay, which we haven't really, I've kind of mentioned, is this bit here. You're looking to create trigger slides and answer slides, and these should be done from memory as well. So your first put, of course, send the email back. The second thing you should be doing is putting these onto a kind of PowerPoint slide, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, another thing I'm going to look at in today's screencast, which I'm not going to make you do, like I've spoken to people about getting these in the next week or so. This bit here, okay, simply based around kind of exam question you could put on as well. Now, these two things are things that I will be looking to work on in lessons, okay, and you starting to add these to your presentations as the year goes past, which are kind of different exam questions and how you can start to really push those higher order thinking skills. So if we go on then, presentation structure then, this is what it will let us start to look like. So we're looking at, first of all, a familiarization section. Okay, this will be your trigger slide, answer slide. It's based around memory and recall, and being able to recall the more basic information for the exam. The next bit is looking at prescription exam questions. Okay, so prescription exam questions are particularly very, they just ask you to describe something. It tells you exactly what it wants. We'll then be looking, like I said, as year goes on, interpretation. Interpretation is basically giving you a scenario, it's giving you a graph, it's giving you a table, it's giving you information, but it is not telling you what it wants you to do in the exam question. It's asking you to draw it out of a kind of stimulus, which could be any of the things I just mentioned then. Finally, this bit is something we work on in lessons, is creation and synoptic application. When you're at a stage where you can do these two, or these three, you then need to start thinking about creating exam questions. Now, creating exam questions is absolutely vital for us at the moment, because the kind of specifications in its second year, so it's in its first full year through the A level, it's in its infancy. So there is a real lack of kind of exam questions from this new specification. So it's massively important now. If you're going through this kind of process and you're feeling good at it, you have a go at doing these things, creating your own exam question, and also trying to link it back to stuff we've done before. That's what synoptic application means. Whatever you're studying now, is there a way you can link it back? Again, we'll work on these in lessons. Today's screencast is going to be more on this and this. So starting off then with familiarization, what does it mean? Okay, well, familiarization, okay, we want to memorize the key information from the lesson. To do that, I will send you the email. Like I said, you send that back. After you've done that, you need to start putting together a presentation. The presentation will have a trigger slide that will consist of an acronym, mnemonic, or a gapped piece of work. Now, these are absolutely vital for your long-term memory, because that process of struggling, that process of not knowing exactly what you should be putting, has such a kind of emphatic effect on your brain in terms of memory, because you're having to struggle, you have to think, and it will fire impulses that help you memorize information based around exam questions. So it's really important you aren't writing, going home, just putting down an answer slide, because the answer slide, when you go back to it in 3 weeks, you're just reading. How do you know you took that in? If you have to work, your brain has to work from a trigger like this, it's much more effective. The answer slide is just a translation into technical vocabulary, which can be extended with examples if you'd like. Obviously, examples are always going to be key in PE, as I'm sure it is in other subjects. So an example then of this familiarization slide, trigger and answer, would be here, one we've done recently or one we've done early in the course, which is Newton's laws. So Newton's laws then, okay, Newton proposed there are 3 laws. You could have put the mnemonic on here, which is I accelerate using action reaction. However, I've just kept it simple here with a name. So what you've got then, if you can see, is you've got this kind of process of a trigger slide. You've got the gaps. I've used gaps on this one, it's rather than the mnemonic, and this then allows you to kind of think, right, can I work out what those definitions are from those gapped sentences? Now, some people might think this is too easy. Now, if this is too easy, this might mean that you could do a second trigger slide that has less help on it. Okay, it might just have the name of the laws on, and you have to remember the definition. It might have one word that you have to use as a stimulus to build up the whole sentence. Okay, so answer slide is then the direct translation into terminology that will get you marks in the exam. Okay, so that takes you through there the 3 laws of Newton. And yeah, so that's the kind of the basic answer slide. So that's your familiarization part of your homework. That's making sure you can memorize it. Now, on from that, you've got prescription. Now, prescription is something I would like people to have a go at. It's not going to be something I'm going to say has to be, but certainly, I think people now, at this point, when you've done that, you should be starting to think about, right, can I start to get some exam questions in my PowerPoint slides? Because what we're aiming to do is to get a big kind of PowerPoint presentation for each area, and you build it up, and it's got lots of exam questions. You're basically creating a working revision document that you can use in the summer when your exams come around. So this prescriptive question, exam question matrix, okay, you will be given, all right, so for every area you'll have an exam question matrix, or it could be an exam question that's used by your teacher. But ultimately, a prescriptive exam question is one whereby it asks you to describe something, maybe with an example. It tells you what it wants, okay? And then after that, what I'd like you to do, this is really good practice, is to add a mark scheme, okay? And this can act as a really, really effective revision tool when you go back to it, because you cannot trust anything really other than mark schemes. Okay, mark schemes will become your Bible, and the specification and the mark scheme have to be your number one resource. Okay, this is where you will know if you're getting things right or not. So, example of how this would work then, a prescriptive question. So on here, using a serve in tennis, explain Newton's 3 laws of motion. Now that's prescriptive because it's telling you that it wants you to talk about Newton's 3 laws, and it is giving you the example it wants you to use. Okay, so that allows you to kind of get a basic bit of information there, and hopefully you'll feel like that will be something you could have a go at. Now, following that, I mean, once you've got this question into your kind of PowerPoint, I'll certainly leave one blank thing there, but you might always have a go at answering it, which a lot of you had already done this week. So going on from there, then the next bit we'd look at is a mark scheme. So the mark scheme comes next. As you can see now, you can think you look back in 6 weeks when you get to October half term, and you have a look at this and you think, right, I go back to this, I go through my little slides, I do this, I will go, right, here we go, Newton's laws, what do I remember? Right, that's it, let's see what we can do. Answer it, done. So you might have a go at drawing into here, writing in on a piece of paper when you're looking at this, check you've got it right. Then you'd say, right, now let's have a look, see if I can have a go at this. Look at that, see the question, see if I can answer it. And then you have this mark scheme already in your PowerPoint that you can just check it off and make sure it's correct. Now, in order to get this to work, I'll show you how you get onto the OCR kind of website. So the OCR website, there's 2 parts to it, because obviously you are going to be looking for new specification stuff and old specification stuff. Now, at the moment, I suppose it's quite important to kind of, the old specification stuff is going to give you a lot of resources because it's been there longer. We've only had like a year, 12 months of the new specification and only 1 AS paper. So once you get onto, put that into Google, you get onto this bit here. So if you click on, you'll go on to the OCR website. When you get onto the OCR website, your next job then is to go down. So this is I'll show you where the majority of the stuff we're going to be using is. It's here. So if you look at this bit down there, so past papers, mark schemes and reports. So you go into here, and when you get onto here, so for example, I'll show you what I just did for the Newton's law one. So you've gone to the January. When you get down to here, you've got your mark scheme for January there. You'll get on, and you can go and have a look through those then and find the bits of information you need. So I'll go down to here, I'll show you the bit where I found on Newton's laws. Okay, so there's a bit there, and then you can just kind of print screen that get it onto your kind of presentations. So hopefully you can see how that would work. I'll put that back on now so we can kind of get started on this bit again. So you just look here. So that's kind of how you put the mark schemes on. OCR A-level PE into Google. Once you've done it into Google, you'll get what I've just shown you there, and you can move through that. So that's kind of how I'm looking for these mark schemes to take shape. Content-wise, everything you've covered in A-level PE should be put straight into a Padlet after you've done your initial trigger slide for homework. So if I just go back to your start bit, okay, there. At the moment, we are focusing on these key bits here. Receive email, send it back, create trigger and answer slide. These are the absolute, there is no, negotiation on this. You have to do these. These two are massively important. This is the bit you need to get used to doing because I haven't shown you that in lessons yet. This is the bit you need to get used to doing now, and then we're moving towards these higher order thinking skills that will allow you to really push for the top grades, the A's, the A stars, which is what we want you to be doing. Okay, so make sure you get these presentations put together, and yes, thanks very much for taking the time to listen to this.